The fight for freedom must go on until it is won, until our country is free and happy and peaceful as part of the community of man. We cannot rest. The land on which the cattle grazed was communal property. It was owned by no one. It was nobody's private farm. It was the common property of the people, shared by the people. So the practice of sharing was central to the concept of ownership of property. We were very lucky. My mother and stepmothers were on very, very good terms, and so we, the children, grew up as brothers and sisters. We all belong to South Africa, and South Africa belongs to us all. How can it be said we should use only constitutional means in our struggle, when all resistance is illegal and we have no way to change the brutal realities of the racism regime? We have got to move away from the concept of race and color, because that is what apartheid is. We cannot end apartheid if we retain these concepts. To go back means defeat. We have a vision of South Africa in which black and white shall live and work together as equals in conditions of peace and prosperity. The true facts are not always obvious. They often have to be looked for. I would not hesitate to vote for a white person as president if I thought he was the best person for the job. Whoever says that sanctions will only deteriorate the situations of blacks in South Africa does not know the criminal, murderous character of genocide that represents the system of apartheid. The ANC was established in 1912 and the SA Communist Party in 1921, and so there has been an overlapping of membership all along the line. Racial discrimination, South Africa's economic power, its oppression and exploitation of all the black peoples, are part and parcel of the same thing. The sanctions will not kill us. It's apartheid that's killing us. Mandela drafted the M Plan, a simple, common-sense plan for organization on a street basis so that Congress volunteers would be in daily touch with the people, alert to their needs and able to mobilize them. How do you deal with a criminal that will not listen to what you have to say and who continues his policy of violence? Some say you continue to talk and let him tire himself out. But nearly 40 years after the institution of apartheid, is there anyone who still believes that verbal persuasion will work? Our target is not negotiations. It is the end of the apartheid system. There can be no compromise about that. There is no way a spirit of resistance that has sunk so deep in the population can be repressed. In South Africa, I feel I am a stranger, at best an animal. The popularity of leaders like Mandela was an invitation to counterattack by the government. Mandela was banned from speaking, from attending gatherings, from leaving Johannesburg, from belonging to any organization. Using the power you derive from the discovery of the truth about racism in South Africa, you will help us to remake our part of the world into a corner of the globe on which all of humanity can be proud. The struggle to conquer oppression in our country is the weaker for the traditionalist, conservative, and primitive restraints imposed on women by man-dominated structures within our movement, as also because of equally traditionalist attitudes of surrender and submission on the part of women. We had to forge an alliance of strength based not on color but on commitment to the total abolition of apartheid and oppression. We would seek allies, of whatever color, as long as they were totally agreed on our liberation aims. You were not wanted. You were, at best, tolerated. You had to be constantly on your guard, like an animal in a jungle full of beasts of prey. You experienced it all within the short distance of 5 miles from the gates of St. Peter's to Park Station in the city. I am convinced that the worldwide protests during the Rivonia trial saved Mandela and his fellow accused from a death sentence. But in South Africa, a life sentence means imprisonment until death or until the defeat of the government, which holds these men prisoner. My problem in calling for pressures on South Africa is to convince the youth, to convince their governments and people that it is not the South African goods that are cheap, but the forced labor of the Africans. I was just an ordinary student. I'd always gotten along with authorities quite well. I can see quite clearly that if there was a single event that launched me on the road to ultimate involvement at the heart of South African politics, it was an assault on an African woman by her white employer in a kitchen in Fort Hare. There is nothing in ANC policy which calls for attacks on civilians in supermarkets, schools, and cinemas unless these are regarded as military installations. We believe that the world, too, can destroy apartheid, firstly by striking at the economy of South Africa. We seek to create a united democratic and non-racial society. The violence associated with the ANC is minimal, infinitesimal next to the violence of the apartheid regime. The results showed that Joe Makona and I had made history. For the first time in the history of education in South Africa, 2 African students had passed the JC with a first-class degree, regarded as a rare achievement for any student. It may be that apartheid brings such stupendous economic advantages to countries that they would sooner have apartheid than permit its destruction. Responsibility for the proper conduct of children was not confined to their parents only. When they misbehaved against the community, and a senior member of the community was expected to do something about it. In Holy Cross, I came to like school, to like studying in a way I had never done before. My sister had some ailment and convulsions that she suffered from, and she had been sent to some place to go and get healed there. She was brought back and prayed for by those people. She recovered. In fact, she grew to be an evangelist in her own right, healing people and traveling around. It was becoming clear that, from being at the top at Holy Cross, we were at the bottom at St. Peter's. Objectively, this was very good, for it offered us a challenge and an opportunity to grow if we were ready to take it, and we surely were. It was of limited usefulness to head great rallies. The government did not listen, and, soon enough, the tear gas and the muzzles of the guns were turned against the people. The justice of our cries went unrecognized. In May 1961, South Africa was to be declared a nationalist republic. There was a white referendum, but no African was consulted. This uprising of 1976 to 77 was, of course, the historic watershed. Within a short period of time, it propelled into the forefront of our struggle millions of young people. The US is the last country that should see itself as an ally of the apartheid system. The ANC is a national movement. We all, communists and non-communists alike, want a non-racial, democratic, united South Africa. Apartheid either is or is not, and it must not be. If apartheid is removed, then the violence that is necessary to maintain it will be removed along with the pressures from apartheid, which create a violent response. For decades, we resisted violence until Sharpeville. Those who want to perpetuate apartheid also seek to divert your attention to the false issue of communism, to send the entire American public on a witch hunt. The apartheid system renounces no violence. I didn't really want to be a teacher, but there was nothing else I could be. Most of those who went to the university became teachers. It was just the racial restriction on Africans. It was always my desire to strike new ground and help to lend weight where it was most required. The more pressure you bring from without, the less internal pressure is necessary. We believe it is comprehensive international sanctions against the white regime that will save us from the slaughter of hundreds of thousands of South Africans, black and white. It is often suggested that the ANC is controlled by the Communist Party, by communists. Well, I have been long enough in the ANC to know that that has never been true. Apartheid is inherently a practice of violence. Whites, like ourselves, belong to our country. They are compatriots, fellow citizens. We see them as Africans. The people of South Africa are ready to stand up to the oppressions of the Pretoria regime, and they are ready to fight back. The Soviet Union was a very useful ally in the defeat of Nazi Germany.